can do that now without having a smart appliance. The one thing that is appliance that you can't manage is refrigerator. Okay, you've got an automatic defroster. You don't know, they'll kick on whenever. A smart refrigerator will actually delay that process until when you program it in to come in and defrost at night. So
maybe the next generation is going to be more automated, but there's certainly going to be behavioral opportunities to take advantage of different pricing schemes.
Keep in mind the difference in obsolescence and function. So you might have got a new appliance, whether it's a dehumidifier or a refrigerator, and it's running fine, and you say, oh, but it doesn't have that chip and it can't communicate with a smart direction, okay? It's not obsolete, it's still very functional. So as you move towards those appliances over time, get your mileage out of those things as long as they're efficient and working. So those are choices for consumers, and when you're at the point of, I would like that smart appliance and my appliance is on the way out, that's when kind of some of the magic happens.
Manufacturers of appliances want to keep their products as cheap as possible. So Whirlpool is, they have the capability of making smart appliances, but they're going to be $10 more expensive than their competitor. And so there's not an incentive for them just from a sales perspective. There are a number of good citizens who will pay the extra $10, but for the average consumer, they're looking, they walk into wherever and they want the cheapest thing. And so one thing that would be nice would be to have some kind of standards that say you have to have this capability, and then every manufacturer's appliance is going to be $10 more expensive, and so you're able to compare apples with apples. Things like refrigerators are quite complicated to do yourself. You can't do it. Other things, you can put a timer on the outlet, and you can buy these little timers, and so you easily make certain appliances run at night time. If you want to become more sophisticated, then you can get what's called a Zigbee-based home automation system, where you put these they're devices that build into the outlet, put them through your house. You have a computer somewhere, and it is scheduling when different things turn on, when different things turn off.
So it's kind of an interesting dilemma in that they're not manufacturing many of the different styles in every shape and size, because the market hasn't developed enough for them to justify the expense of putting in a full suite of appliances. I think they really need to go to a time of use rate that's pretty much standard, and frankly, I'd be surprised if the Michigan Public Service Commission would mandate us to do time of use rates.
So electromagnetic radiation drops off at the square of the distance, and so if you put your head up against a smart meter for a long period of time, then maybe there'll be a problem. But it's a squared law, so if you're a meter away from one of these devices, 3 feet away, there's no radiation at all.
It certainly, and also there is the Michigan Public Service Commission has requested a hearing associated with that, and we certainly would comply with any type of information that they would request from us.
That's a good question, because concerns have been raised from individuals who it's important to them. And so the docket that Kristen referred to is open for the utilities to respond about what is their implementation plan, how are they accounting for these safety considerations, what kind of scientific evidence are they working with that validates it, and costs and all those kinds of questions. So the utilities will respond, and then there's an additional time period for anybody else to respond with.
In our current program that we have, and at this time it is not.
It takes various forms around the world, and it's called different things around the world, but this is an activity that everyone is participating in. So there's a few kind of utilities that have jumped in early, but it's a phenomenon that is common across everywhere.
Before we put anything in place, we want to make sure it lasts a long time. Our customers certainly want to ensure we're implementing prudent technology, and so therefore we want to ensure that it's available for a long period of time.
Is it happening all over besides West Michigan? I'm looking forward to the day that the world catches on it and calls it the responsive grid. So that would have started in West Michigan, right here at this table.
And so we have these meters that we've put into various different students' houses and things like that, whereby you can jump on your computer, look at what your energy, it's 5 minute by 5 minute, I forget, but you can look at your energy usage on a kind of a very short-term basis on the internet. And if it's on the internet, then it's on a mobile phone as well, cell phone, whatever it's called.
I think there's real interest in that real-time feedback display, so you can look and you know how much energy am I using. There's a fun pilot project on the East Coast right now where the whole town is stationed feedbacks for their peak demand use. The town happens to be an island, so they're able to isolate it to their community alone. When they go into restaurants, they're able to see that display. When they go billboards, and they're able to get real-time feedback of the town's energy use. And they know in those summer days, when it starts getting up into that red area, it's time to cut back, and right now it's voluntary, and so they just kind of automatically see it going up to the red, and they cut back. So that visual display really excites people.
One of my grad students put one of these meters in his family home, and so the negative effect of that was that his dad had been saying forever, you guys should be turning your lights off using charge energy, and now he can prove it. If you're relying on people going to look at a screen and go, oh, I should do something about my electricity usage, it won't last that long for the average consumer. But if it's a totally automated process where people don't have to think about it, then there will be some positive outcome from that.
Well, part of it we've already talked about. The responsive grid is not the answer to everything, but when renewable energy can be part of a distributed energy system and that grid can accommodate it, that is a wonderful starting point. Yes, it's technological. It is more present than it is future, but it relies on future advances. And the renewable portfolio standard at 10%, it remains to be seen in the state if that ever gets bumped up through other legislation, through consumers' insistence, et cetera. Then that's obviously a way to bump up clean and replace dirty earth sources, right?
There's a trade-off that one needs to think about, that we will always be using electricity. The best way is to use less electricity, and then you don't need to build new wind turbines on the lake or put solar panels. Production of photovoltaics is a very energy-intensive, dirty process. So you might get clean energy out of a photovoltaic panel, but the energy and the pollution that goes into making one of those things is not trivial. Production of batteries is another environmental disaster, and batteries wear out eventually, and so we need to get rid of all of these batteries as well. Now, there's an enormous amount being invested in battery technology, and I really hope that that pays off, because it is the holy grail from a grid perspective. Electricity grids have to exactly match generation with demand. There's no way around that. But if you have batteries, then you can break that cycle, and so when demand is high, pull energy out of batteries. When demand is low, put the energy back in it. And that is certainly the holy grail for moving forward from a grid perspective.
This wraps up our program for tonight. Don't forget to stop by the WEMEAC table on your way out and take a minute to join. Become a member of WEMEAC and and show us how you value the good work that we're doing here. Special thanks to Nick, who was instrumental in pulling together this group and of course moderating the discussion. And thanks to all of you for taking time out this evening as well.